Hey everyone, and welcome to this first episode of Picture Start. This is a series where I'm going to look back at some films that I've ran throughout the course of my career and my time as a projectionist. So the first film we're going to look at is The Wrestler. This week is actually the 10th anniversary of the release of The Wrestler back in 2009. So I was pretty excited to see this film. I've been a wrestling fan since I was a little kid, so I didn't get to make the print up. The guys made it up and I actually asked if they would leave it for me to view in the cinema I was working in at the time, so I was able to check back in my film log. So I actually viewed the print of The Wrestler on the 14th of January, which would have been the Wednesday, so the film released on Friday the 16th over here. I know in the States it did get released kind of the December kind of limited release, and then I believe it kind of went on a general release in January. So I remember I was on the open that morning, I went in to view it. One of the managers actually wanted to view it with me, and we went into screen 3, which is a kind of a small one of the smaller screens in that cinema, and it was scope film 235:1, and I was pretty kind of blown away with the film. It was really good, really well done. So The Wrestler was directed by Darren Aronofsky. I wasn't overly familiar with his stuff at that stage, but he did go on to do, I believe, Black Swan was his next film, which was really good. But in terms of the actual film itself, it did get a lot of kind of flack from some kind of wrestlers and stuff about it kind of being not being an accurate portrayal of sort of what goes on. But with the steroids and the drugs and all that stuff, not everybody's into that, and that's kind of a fair point that was made by a lot of wrestlers after they saw it. I think it was fairly well done. So one of the first things that struck me was the opening sequence, where there's kind of all the posters and the newspaper clippings and stuff, and the camera's kind of panning across. I actually kind of shot a similar scene for a wrestling documentary I made back in 2007. I got a lot of old kind of ticket stubs and photos of them throughout the years, and I kind of I didn't actually film it with a camera, physically film it. I just kind of, it was a CG thing I kind of done, Photoshop laid them all out and just kind of panned the camera. So that kind of struck me that they had a similar kind of idea for the opening sequence, going through all those old pictures and stuff to kind of give you a feel for this guy's been around for a long time, and that they had the same kind of idea of getting through that kind of opening sequence and getting through the title, The Wrestler. Another one of the first things that kind of struck me throughout the whole opening of the film was the handheld camera style, the documentary kind of style. Kind of makes it feel like it's real, that they're just kind of following this guy around. And some of the scenes later on where he's kind of working in the butcher part of the shop and he's doing the meats and stuff, that was actually filmed with real life customers. The handheld style throughout the film kind of gives it a documentary feel, just another thing to kind of make it feel a bit more real. I think another one of the things that struck people that went to see this was some people were a bit kind of shocked at some of the stuff in it, and probably not like the steroids and the drugs. I mean, that's a fairly well-known kind of thing, but the blading. So in the scene where he kind of cuts a piece off a blade and kind of tapes it to his wrist tape. So during the match, he takes the little piece of the blade out and sort of cuts himself. In wrestling, it's called blading. And I remember the manager that was with me watching the film, he was really surprised that this went on. He thought people just get hit with chairs and they were kind of cut by the chair, and that's how wrestlers would end up bleeding in a match. I think people were really kind of struck and surprised by that they didn't realise that goes on in independent wrestling, and they didn't realise that that's what these wrestlers do to themselves to be able to kind of bleed during the match. Another one of the things that struck me early on in the film was there's a scene in a wrestling match, and the crowd are cheering, it goes really noisy out in the ring, in the arena, crowd are cheering, noise, and cuts to dead silent, where he's sitting back, Mickey Rourke is sitting back in the locker room. And it's just another thing, I filmed a couple of wrestling documentaries a good few years back, and it's kind of one of the things, and it's kind of hinted in the film that when these wrestlers' careers are over, some of them are not really too sure what to do to themselves, and the noise of the crowd, and then it goes quiet to having kind of nothing to do. So that was I liked that scene. That was really well done, how they done that, from the noise of the arena to the quiet of the locker room in the back. In terms of the casting, Mickey Rourke was absolutely unbelievable in the lead role. There was some things online, I believe initially Nicolas Cage wanted the lead role, and there's depending on I suppose who you listen to, Darren Aronofsky said he really wanted Mickey Rourke, so Nicolas Cage stepped down, and Nicolas Cage, someone else says he was kind of thrown off the film or whatever, I don't know, but depending on who you listen to, it depends on which way that story goes. But so Nicolas Cage was sort of attached and stepped down. I think is the gist of that. Mickey Rourke is clearly the only way to go, and was very well done by him. In terms of supporting cast, Marissa Tomei was quite good. I like her stuff, like her work, and Evan Rachel Wood played the daughter. Really well done by her as well. She was kind of outstanding in Westworld, if you're a fan of that TV series. The wrestler won the Golden Lion at the Venice International Film Festival. At the 2009 Academy Awards, Mickey Rourke was nominated for Best Actor, and in my opinion was robbed. He definitely should have won. Sean Penn, I believe, won that year for Milk. I didn't get to see that. I remember running it. I believe he was quite good in that. I think Mickey Rourke should have got it for that. He was really quite outstanding in this role. Marissa Tomei was also nominated for Best Supporting Actress for The Wrestler, and I believe she was beaten out by Penelope Cruz for Vicky Cristina Barcelona at the time. Then in terms of actual response, I can't remember how well the film done in the cinema I was working in. I know it was, I believe it was in one of the smaller screens. I can't remember how long it lasted, probably maybe a week or two. Stuff like that isn't going to really do very well over here in Ireland. And anyway, I do remember that we didn't get any trailers for the film at all, because I would have kept them, and I don't have any here in the collection, so which means to me that we never got any. We certainly didn't get any posters, quads or one sheets. I don't believe there's any knocking around. The film just literally kind of landed. As I said, on the 16th of January 2009 it opened. I did get to keep a couple of bits off the print that we had, so I'm going to pull out some stuff here. I will throw in close-ups of these. So I have the kind of title piece off one of the reels, The Wrestler. I did get a couple of frames, and at the time what I used to do was I would print these kind of A4 kind of poster of the film, and I would make the kind of if you've seen one of the previous videos about the Batman film frames, link up in the top corner. So what I would do is I would cut some frames out of a trailer or something, and I would keep them and make these kind of film frame kind of things. So there's a couple of frames in this. I have two of these, so I'll throw in some close-ups of these and show you what these are. So the first one is actually the IFCO cert, 16s. The film was certed over here. This scene that I was talking about earlier on, the opening scene with all the posters and the pictures and newspaper clips and stuff on the wrestler, that's the opening kind of title sequence. Then you have Mickey Rourke sitting in the dressing room, the opening scene of the film. He's in the ring, again from the opening of the film. He's backstage with one of the promoters. And then that's the match, the kind of hardcore match with Necro Butcher, I believe, from the indie scene. So, and the second one of these I've made is it's actually like a quad kind of version of the poster, and this is just an A4 print. So these are, it's Evan Rachel Wood as the daughter, and Mickey Rourke. That's the scene where they're kind of at the promenade or whatever you would say. I believe it was all mostly shot in New Jersey. Then you have the wrestler. I'm not too sure if that, I believe that's probably from the end credits. That looks like Mickey Rourke, where he kind of goes, after he retires, he goes to one of the wrestling shows. I just want to have a look, see, kind of thing. That's the poster for the Ram versus the Ayatollah. And then the rest of these are all from the end of the film. He's walking out, he's in the ring giving a speech, he's on the top rope about to jump, and a couple of different camera angles of that. And that's pretty much the only things that I have in terms of any memorabilia or anything from the film. I have a lot of magazine clippings and stuff in a folder somewhere. I don't have them to hand to show you guys. So that's going to do it for this episode of Picture Start. We were looking back at The Wrestler on the 10th anniversary of its release. As I said, 16th of January 2009 it was initially released, so this video is kind of going out around at that time. So thanks for watching, guys. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. If you have subscribed, please consider hitting the bell to get notifications every time I post a new video, so you can stay up to date with all the new content. Don't forget to head over to the website upintheboothpodcast.com, where you can see all different episodes of the videos, and you can listen to episodes of the podcast as well. There's a couple of episodes up already and more to come. That's going to wrap it up. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you on the next video.